Alright, so I wanted to talk about a plant that I know less about because I don't really want to encourage this idea that there's the expert and then there's everybody else who's the student. Sometimes we all have more to learn all the time. And here's a plant that I just know enough about. This is in the Brassica or mustard family, and we're in Asheville right now. We live in the Piedmont in North Carolina, and we have cress everywhere. We see this plant every now and then, but I'm seeing a lot more of it up here. But all I need to know as far as foraging goes is that it's not one of the poisonous plants, which around here are mostly water hemlock and poison hemlock. If I rule them out, I'm probably going to survive the experiment. And more so that it is in the mustard group, which makes it edible. So some ways I can tell it's some kind of plant in the mustard group is four-petaled flowers, and this might be really hard to see here. Sometimes the four petals form an X, sometimes it's more of an H, and this is more of an H. So I don't know if you can get this. You might just have to go out in your own yard and see if you can find this. But there are four petals on each one of these tiny flowers, and it forms a little H. So that's one sign I might be dealing with the mustard group. The next sign that I see that kind of reinforces that is some of these plants have these little seed pods that are coming out in like a whirl. There's a very distinctive, it's hard to put my finger on exactly what it is, but there's something about the shape. Sometimes, like with poor man's pepper, there are little round parts on the end, but there's something about that pattern, that whirl, that's very distinctively mustard. So those two things together, I feel pretty confident this is some kind of mustard. And since I know water hemlock and poison hemlock, I know even if I'm wrong, I can go to the third part of the experiment, which is to taste it. And I'm not going to kill myself, as long as it's not water hemlock or poison hemlock. So now I take a leaf. I'm going to pick this because I'm going to eat it. And a lot of the plants, including the cresses we're more familiar with back where we're at, have this shape, this kind of compound leaf looking shape. That's not always true. There's another mustard we just ran into up here that has a entire leaf. It looks more like your typical leaf, and that one was kind of heart shaped. But everything else, the four petals, the spiral seeds, let me know it was in a mustard. So I would throw that in a salad too and feel pretty confident about it. Now I taste it. And it should have something of that like mustardy, spicy flavor. And it does. I think this might be black mustard, but I was taught by one of my teachers, Tom Brown, know the spirit before you know the name. So the more I interact with plants, the less I get caught up with like specific names. If I know, I want to learn about my relationship with this plant. And this plant offers me some gifts. One is the food. I don't, if I'm making a salad, I'll take maybe a small handful of this, add it to the salad. If I add much more, it's going to be overpowering. So I'm just trying to add a little bit of flavor. Another thing I can do with this plant, and this is pretty neat, is medicinally, if I take some of these leaves, I can chew it up